on that table right there is a PC that I picked up for 50 Aussie dollars in a recent deals hunt. Now the funny thing is about this PC is it is absolutely filthy. There's dust all over this PC, on the fans, on the intake, on the parts themselves, and I was told that it does post, in that it does give out a signal and it does seem to boot properly. But of course, as with anything that can post and it's used, it could have some potential problems. So what I'm going to be doing with this PC straight away is giving it some tech yes loving, and that's where I clean this thing up and make it look brandy new. And then after that, we're going to add in additional components, because I believe that we will need additional hard drives since it didn't come with any drives included. And of course, if there's any problems with the PC itself, we'll diagnose them and fix them up and ultimately see if we can play 1080p Fortnite for under $100. Let's get this show on the road. So now that I've taken this motherboard out, I can check everything individually on this particular X58 board, add some more memory if need be, clean the cooler, and also change the thermal paste on this X58 board, which after the amount of usage which I think it's had, I think this paste would have dried up, which can cause problems in itself. I can also now properly clean all inside this case, as well as taking out useless stuff like this loose hard drive cage, which I'm not going to use, as well as this fan grill, which is rusted up, and these rusty front panel bits here, which they're just going to take way too long to clean up personally, and they're obviously just adding to the weight of the case and not doing anything, especially this grill here. It just looks hideous. That's my opinion, but let's continue on with the show. have spent hours and hours cleaning all these parts up. They've now had Tech Yes Loving administered. And I gotta say, of course they look schmick, but we've also replaced thermal paste on the Northbridge heatsink here, which was dried up, placed it on the Gravis card. That was all dried up as well. And of course we cleaned this heatsink out here, which was just filthy. And so that's looking pretty good now, ready to go. And we've got the CPU thermal paste, which had so much thermal paste applied that it was pretty much still good to go, but I did take a bit of the excess off and put a little bit more down. And of course, this case right here, so much dirt and grime. I'll show you guys how much I picked out. Like I used all these towels, wet towels, which I'm gonna chuck out, but look how dirty all these are. That's just all the dirt that I picked up off this build. And so this has easily taken me the longest build in the history of the channel in order to clean everything up and get it looking schmick. And the funny thing is, I haven't even tested any of this out for myself yet. I've only been told it works. So what we're gonna do now is run it through its paces on the test bed, make sure all these core components here work, and if they do, then we'll put it back inside the case. But also another thing during this, since I knew it was gonna be a big task, some of the parts that were just absolutely filthy and I knew were just like beyond, like taking way too much time to clean up, I just chucked them out to save time. So let's see now if we can get a signal. So now everything is working absolutely fine on this motherboard, and it's giving us a signal ready to boot to a boot drive. And the funny thing is I did have to, however, reseat the memory. So that was one important thing. First time I booted up, it gave out no signal, reseated the memory, and now it works absolutely fine. This is an absolute victory because now we're gonna put this thing back together and see, finally, the Tech Yes Loving come to fruition. So this build is now complete in terms of its initial phase, and we have removed so much clutter. It's had a weight reduction. We've moved all the stuff that was all down here up the top so we can get less cable clutter in terms of the lower part of the build where all the air is going to flow and where we need the airflow too. And I was thinking as well, while I'm at it, I might as well add in some LED strips at the front here. So if I add some LED strips at the front, and yes, that is a floating hard drive. New metal, just saves a lot of time, and it's still pretty firm. Like it's attached, it's firm, and we've also got the SSD right up there with double-sided tape. And we're gonna add in 2 strips at the side here, one here, and that's gonna allow the green light to breathe out the front of the case, because we've already got green LEDs at the back, green LED at the bottom. We're gonna have like 2 green LED fans bringing light in on the side. So I just want this to be a whole green goblin build for very cheap, because these are only $1 strips. So let's finish this build off. And also this Noctua fan here, the one that was actually outtake for the cooler, that wasn't spinning at all. I forgot to mention that. So we're just gonna take that off since we are only running a 4-core 8 thread. It'll still be absolutely fine with this behemoth cooler with 1 fan. So the whole build is now officially complete, and it's kind of got this green lightsaber Kylo Ren theme going on. So maybe this build is telling us something, and that is in the next episode of Star Wars Episode 9, Kylo Ren's going to wield a green lightsaber. That's just predictions made from this budget PC right here. But what we're doing now is downloading all the games overnight and in the morning, because sometimes on the Epic Games Store, I don't know what it is, even if I copy the game over and try and verify it, it just re-downloads the game, and I don't know how to get past that. I mean, Steam's super easy. Steam just finds the game automatically and you don't have to download it again. For some reason, Epic Games Store just has to not be epic. But that aside, we've got this whole build complete. We ended up using a 120GB SSD and also a 500GB hard drive and one LED strip. We only got away with just the 1 meter. And that's just really covered the whole build and give it that whole super intense green glowing out of the whole build. And another thing is too, these fans and how bright they are is actually connected to that front panel adjustment, where if I raise the speed, the lights will also get brighter with the actual speed and RPM, but they'll also get louder as well. So that's a bit of a detriment about this build. Though with that aside, I'm gonna get some sleep, and then in the morning, we're gonna overclock this thing and then see how it finally performs in a variety of titles. Young Padawan, I am no longer on the dark side because I like the budget. Because I like the budget. Because I like the I am no longer on the dark side. Because I like because I like the budget. So now we have finished finally testing this PC in the benchmarks and the games, and we saw with Fortnite 140 average FPS, 0.1 and 1% lows were actually really well controlled. Moving over to CSGO, 240 average FPS. I did have a problem with the 0.1% lows capturing them because my benchmark key was linked to the same hotkey as the screenshot, but it was a pretty smooth experience. Managed to get some good quick frags, and then Dota 2 had a new update where there was this new hero, and I managed to quickly benchmark that and try out the new hero, and that was getting 110 average FPS at 1080p. So all these 3 games were 1080p and pretty much max settings except for Fortnite, which was on high, a blend of high. And so I've used this with PCs with over double the budget, and it's getting similar FPS to those computers. So the GTX 770 is actually not too bad. Keep in mind, I could barely overclock this thing at all because it's pretty much an OC model and it's going and running close to its max overclock out of the box anyway. But you're probably wondering why this PC is still sort of pieced out like this. And that's because we had some problems. And it wasn't just Red Dead 2 running at like 46 FPS. I mean, that's an extremely demanding title. And this rig managed to do 720p, as we said before, 46 or 47 average FPS. And the minimum surprisingly wasn't too bad. It didn't stutter really at all. This was at low settings and I couldn't change it to 1080p. It just wouldn't let me. So the game must be forcing you not to run over the 2GB VRAM limit. I'm guessing that's the reason why it wouldn't let me change the settings to a higher level to say play at 1080p. But even then, it looked okay. You could play Red Dead 2 on this PC if you really wanted to. But here we got this thing still apart because I had the biggest headaches overclocking this thing. It was really bad. Like, you guys have been like, Brian, you're going crazy in the intros. It's stuff like this that makes me go crazy in the intro. This board, it would work and then I'd try and overclock it and then it wouldn't work. And the problem is I'd clear the CMOS out, reset everything, and it wouldn't boot up again. And then I'd take the battery out and it wouldn't boot up again. So I replaced the battery, updated the BIOS, and it still had these weird problems, like extremely frustrating problems where I ended up having the top PCIe slot. I had to change the graphics card down to the third PCIe slot, which is still 16X. And it was just, that somehow fixed it. Like, what is going on with these overclocks? And then the funny thing is, in the BIOS, I've got some weird problems which I've never seen before, but doesn't surprise me because I've ran into these problems on Gigabyte X58 motherboards in the past where it's, for instance, in the past, it's switched the turbo and the base multiplier around. I've only ever seen that once on a different board, but this one is having some weird message just randomly pop up when I'm using it, and it'll just tell me like to escape, and then it won't escape, and it just will basically freeze. So really weird problems with this motherboard. The memory didn't show the XMP profiles, so I tried two different sets, and one of them is even an official like Intel certified XMP profile. It just wasn't showing XMP profiles up, so I was limited to using manual timings, and even then, anytime I changed it manually, the timings, the memory just clonked out, even at like really slow speeds. So I had to just put all the memory in, run it at like literally 1260 megahertz. I think that's what I settled on with the memory overclocks. And then for the CPU, the i7 950, I managed to get that up to 3.8 gigahertz, basically with the memory maxing out at those really low CL timings on the B clock. So we still managed to get a half decent overclock out of the CPU, all things considered, but I had to work around all these really finicky BIOS settings and problems. And here's the final state. It does work, but I just left this out just in case it didn't decide to work, so I wouldn't have to pull everything apart again and reset and waste my time. But it seems to be all working now. Let's sit down and move over to a conclusion with this PC. So all that aside, all the frustrations, all the massive amount of time cleaning this thing up, giving it some proper tech yes loving inside and out, we managed to get a PC that gave out, I would say, the best, like literally the best price performance in the history of the channel, where we picked out all these components for 50 Aussie dollars for the whole main case. And then we put in a $20 SSD, $10 hard drive, 500 gigabyte, and then $1 on the LED strip. So 81 Aussie dollars in total for this whole machine, and it plays games really well. And I think in USD terms, it's like under $60 US. So that is just incredible price performance for what it can do. It can play all the popular titles out there. Red Dead Redemption 2, of course, being extremely demanding, it still managed to play that at 720p. But one thing, like, you're probably thinking, man, Brian, you should be way more excited with this price performance. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty excited, but man, this thing took it out of me. Like, there was so much cleaning to do, ridiculous amount of cleaning. And then on top of that, I had all the problems afterwards in order to get this rig to work properly. And so it was one of those bittersweet. That's the best way to describe today's rig, bittersweet victory. And so we ended up getting there in the end, and it took a lot out of me because my hands are actually really sore from cleaning all that stuff last night. And I don't know, like I've got to start wearing a mask and getting some gloves because that was just too much last night. And I did chuck out like so much weight reduction in this case. There was just so much just crap and clutter inside. I just took the minimalistic approach and ended up working a lot better because now I can actually carry this thing without risking myself getting a herniated disc in my back. And yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good, looks pretty cool. And I guess that's what it's all about. If you guys have a lot of time on your hands and a lot of patience, then you can really bring up a PC and make it work again, give it some life. And that's just ultimately one of the backbones of the channel here at Tech City, making magic happen from basically nothing, bringing up something that someone would either just want to chuck out or just get rid of and making it game properly in 2019. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, then be sure to smash that like button for us. Man, I know I've earned that like, that's for sure. And let us know in the comment section below what you think of this PC. Would there be some things you'd change, some things you'd add personally? I think it's just one of those PCs that just made it in the end. It did get there. But I tell you what, Gigabyte and their older BIOSes, man, I can only imagine the amount or the plethora of problems that await on all these other motherboards that I haven't even tried in the past. Like I've tried the X59 UD3, I've tried their P45 motherboards, I've tried their P55s, and I've had problems with them all. But I'm just wondering what other problems exist out there because this was so frustrating to get my head around and finally get something that actually worked. I ended up calling the BIOS profile praying because that's what I was doing in the end, just praying that it would work, and it did. But that aside, guys, I am actually going to be giving this PC away now. So Christmas is going to be coming up soon. I'm going to be giving away this PC to someone locally on the Gold Coast who really needs it. So if you know someone or you are that someone that is underprivileged, you just, this Christmas, maybe your parents can't afford to buy you a PC, then hit me up on Twitter with a message, just say, Brian, yo. That's all you got to say, or something like that. Brian, I think I'm a candidate, and then I'll DM you. You can tell me your situation and stuff, we'll DM, and then, yeah, I can give you this PC. It's Christmas is coming up. I know times are getting tough, whatever, but Christmas is just one of those times of the year where it's getting to that time of giving. And with that aside, I'll catch you guys in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.